How are you guys? Good night of fights in Miami at the Kaseya Center, UFC 314. Alexander Volkanovski, he does it. He makes history. He wins the UFC featherweight champion, regains the belt that he lost last year at UFC 298 to Ilia Topuria. He wins a decision over Diego Lopes, 49-46 twice, 48-47. I scored at 49-46 for Volkanovski. I gave Lopes the fourth round. That was it. Derek Cleary gave Lopes the second round and the fourth round. Lopes knocked Volkanovski down 10 seconds to go in the second round, excuse me. But I thought that Volkanovski was in complete command of that second round, got dropped at the very end, and he was moving backwards. And I'm not taking anything away from Diego. The punch hit the shoulder, then went up to the chin, and it knocked him down. It was a clean knockdown, but it wasn't like this big, hard, decisive knockdown that you sometimes, would like to see. But I thought Volkanovski was masterful in this fight, and he overcame the curse from lightweight on down. So the four divisions: lightweight, featherweight, bantamweight, and flyweight for the men in the UFC. Prior to tonight, there had been 17 fighters 35 years or older who had tried for a belt in those four divisions, and they were 0-17 until Volkanovski did it tonight. Alexander Volkanovski, at 36 years old, regains the featherweight championship. And you know what I think really did it for him is he controlled that distance perfectly. Diego Lopes is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He is also a very hard puncher. He had 3 fights in a row where he won in basically 90 seconds or less by knockout. The guy is a great fighter. He has a multi-dimensional game. But Volkanovski got into that perfect position where he was able to be inside of Lopez's jab. He was landing, the right hand, kind of that short left hook a lot during the fight. And I thought that really made a massive difference in the way this fight went. And Diego simply did not throw enough. In significant strikes, listen to this. This is really, to me, what is pretty amazing. Volkanovski connected on 61% of his significant strikes. He was 158 of 259, while Diego Lopes was 63 of 194. I think most people would say during the fight that Diego landed the harder shots throughout the fight, but Volk was landing clean, hard shots consistently, round after round after round, and that is what wins you the fight. Let's look just at the significant strikes landed per round. Volkanovski in round 1, 27-8. Volkanovski in round 2, 24-16. Volkanovski in round 3, 25-9. Round 4, Volkanovski 39-16. Round 5, 43-14 for Volkanovski. So Volkanovski was just in command, the way he was doing that. He was also 1 for 11 with takedowns. And while, that is nothing to write home about, Diego didn't even try a shot. Diego just made it a kickboxing fight the whole way. And I thought Diego needed to throw more. I thought his inexperience showed, maybe the moment was a little bit too big for him. He fought hard, he came, but I thought like he didn't do the natural things that usually come to him in a fight. You didn't see him doubling up his shots. You saw him throw one punch at a time. He wasn't using his kicks all that well. He was pressuring and he was making Volk move and back up, but it wasn't effective pressure a lot of the night. And I think when he looks at the tape, he's going to say to himself, I had an opportunity lost here. Not to say that he was going to beat Volk on this particular night, but, had he done more, especially early in the fight, who knows what would have happened, what kind of toll it would have taken on Volkanovski as the fight wore on. In the third round, Volkanovski got poked in the eye, an inadvertent eye poke, with just under 3 minutes to go. And give him credit, boy. He moved around the ring. He looked at the referee, said, "I got poked in the eye." The referee, Mark Goddard, did not see it. He said, "Fight on." And Volk just moved around the ring as much as he could to try to run out the round. But he still did really well in that round. It was amazing to me. And I just kind of felt like that signified the type of fighter he was on this night. He told Joe Rogan in the octagon afterwards, adversity is a privilege. And he was referring to not only the eye poke, but being 36 and fighting a much younger guy, and also coming in after back-to-back knockout losses. He had a lot going against him in this fight, and he came through, I thought, with flying colors. So congratulations to Alexander Volkanovski, the new UFC featherweight champion. Huge congratulations to Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Oh my Lord, was he impressive. The first round was close. I gave it to Chandler, but it could have gone either way. I thought about it, and I just thought that maybe with Chandler, with his wrestling, edged it out in the first round. I saw some people gave it to Paddy, but clearly Paddy won the second round, and then he finished him in the third round. And I thought he showed himself very, very well. I wonder about Mike Chandler. I want to talk about him very quickly. What does the UFC do with this guy? He is now 2-6. He has lost, 5 of his last 6 fights. His win was over a faded Tony Ferguson. What do you do with Chandler? I mean, he's exciting. He comes to fight. It wasn't the greatest performance by him tonight. He didn't push the pace as much as he normally does. But pretty much when you get Mike Chandler, what you're going to get. He's now 38 years old. He's going to drop out of the top 10. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes down almost all the way to the bottom of the top 15, 14, 15 in that range there. Certainly he didn't show a lot tonight. What does the UFC do with him? I think he's going to, as long as he continues to fight, he's going to have to fight a lot of really up and coming young guys, kind of be the gatekeeper. I don't think he has a path back to a championship. I mean, how do you come back after the record that he has compiled? I just don't see it. But Pimblett deserves a heck of a lot of credit. I mean, his striking was on point. His wrestling game was on point. He almost choked him out a couple of times. And I just thought very, very impressive. He said that he wanted to fight either Dustin Poirier, Justin Gaethje, or Charles Oliveira. He kind of leaned toward Oliveira. I think that was the guy that he really would like to fight. So I'm down for that one. He mentioned Arman Tsarukyan, but wasn't too into Arman Tsarukyan. But that was an impressive performance. And I think, Paddy now 7-0 in the UFC with 5 finishes. This guy is a legit contender. Say what you want about him, but he is a legitimate contender at this point in time. So there was a couple other featherweight fights on the card too. Yair Rodriguez won a unanimous decision over Patricio Pitbull in Pitbull's UFC debut. I thought Yair fought tremendously well. I thought he looked really, really good. His kicks were amazing. He was in control of the octagon. He brought it to Pitbull, and Pitbull was strangely passive to me. What was going through my mind as the fight was going on was, this is an old fighter. As I'm watching Pitbull, I'm going, man, he looks like an old fighter to me. Just had no spark. I didn't see anything from him that said to me he's going to be a contender in the featherweight division. I hope I'm wrong on that, because this is an exciting fighter and it's a guy who's had a fantastic career. But he's getting up there in age, and he has now lost 3 of his last 4. So Lord only knows where he's going to go. Yair Rodriguez called for a title fight. I'm not sure I buy that. He hadn't won in 2 years. And I don't know. He said Hunter Campbell told him if he won his fight that he would get a title shot. I suspect if I called Hunter Campbell on Monday, I would find out that that was not exactly the way the conversation went. But, we'll see. I mean, he's up there. There's no doubt about it. But I just think that there's some other people maybe that deserve it more than he does. And I would say Max Holloway would be, right at the top of that list. If Max is going to fight in that division. I don't know if he is or not. I'm thinking Max is probably going to stay and fight at lightweight, but there's who knows what's going to happen there. But to me, the performance of the night was Jean Silva. He chokes out Bryce Mitchell, another featherweight. He looks spectacular. Mitchell has great grappling, a great ground game, very dangerous submissions. And early in the fight, he had a guillotine on Mitchell, and Mitchell was almost out from the guillotine. Silva was striking really well, was hurting him with a lot of shots, and then ends up choking him unconscious with a ninja choke and dropped him with a good 1-2. Then when he was on the ground, jumped him, got the ninja choke in. Very, very impressed by Jean Silva. And he is going to be up there. I don't know where Max Holloway, if Max is going to fight at featherweight, I doubt it. I think he's going to stay and fight at lightweight. But I know Jean Silva is going to have a big, 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 big say in what goes on in the featherweight division. And then in the main card opener, give a lot of credit to Dominic Reyes. He went through a lot of adversity in his career, and he came back. He knocks out Nikita Krylov tonight in the first round. An unbelievable left hand, just boom, right on the chin. Krylov was down. It was over. Very impressive performance. And I think that might get him back into the top 10. And, who knows what is going to happen. So, Dominic Reyes with a really impressive performance tonight. Not much of note on the rest of the undercard. I thought Vina Jandiroba looked amazing in her win over Yan Xiaonan. She won a unanimous decision, 30-27. Dan Ige, you got to love Dan Ige. What did he give up? 7, 8, 9 inches to Sean Woodson, and he found a way to finish the fight. I thought a terrible stoppage by referee Andrew Glenn. I didn't think by any stretch of the imagination that Woodson was finished, but he had been rocked by Ige earlier, and Ige had landed some shots on him. I thought it was too quick of a stoppage, but Ige was up 2-0 on the card as it was going on to win that third round. So another impressive performance by Dan Ige. Was kind of disappointed with the Jim Miller Chase Hooper fight. I didn't think Miller showed a lot. Hooper clearly dominated the fight, but it wasn't anything that I was all that excited about. And on the early prelims, the one person that I think deserves notice and I think is going to be a factor in the middleweight division is Marco Tulio. He beat Tresean Gore, and I think Tresean Gore is just another guy, right? He's not, Gore is nobody that is going to contend for a title or anything, big, strong guy, and that's pretty much it. But Marco Tulio just showed an unbelievable striking arsenal. So I was very, very, very impressed by Marco Tulio. And to me, he was one of the stars of UFC 314. But Alexander Volkanovski was the star of UFC 314. He walks out with the gold once again in a vintage Volkanovski performance. They asked if he was able to raise his game at 36 and do it one more time, and he answered the question. Listen, gang, I hope to see you guys next week. Check out keviniole.com. I have a story up on that fight. I have a story up on the co-main event between Pimblett and Chandler. I have a story on Jean Silva's win over Bryce Mitchell. I also have a little piece up there on Amanda Nunes getting elected to the UFC Hall of Fame. I should add, I was 3-0 in my bets. I gave you 3 plays yesterday. I had the under in the Mitchell Silva fight. That was a winner. I had Pimblett. That was a winner. I had Volkanovski. That was a winner. So I hope you bet my plays and made a little bit of money. Anyways, I will see you all next week. Kind of a slow week, so I won't be there every single day, but I'll be around. Wish guys all the best of luck. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel. It really, really helps, and I would really appreciate it if you could do that for me. We will talk to you soon, guys. Have a great day, and I'm glad you enjoyed the fights.